day of kindergarten. Do I still look like that? Wait, hold on a second. How about now? I feel like that. Hey kids, I started drawing when I was 4 years old. When I got into second grade, where are the second graders? Raise your hand. When I was in second grade, I created my first superhero. His name was what? But when I was in second grade, I was not very good at reading. And you can tell that by looking at Jetman. When I drew my stories, I didn't put any words on them. Look at this. The Jetman's driving his car. There's no words on the page. He's flying through the air. There's no words on the page. He's using his ray gun. There's no words on the page. My second grade teacher was awesome. You know what she used to do? She read to us every day. By the end of second grade, I was developing a love for reading. By third grade, I was doing better. By fourth grade, I couldn't get a book out of my hands. When I got to sixth grade, you want to see what happened? My stories got a lot better because I was reading more. So I think if you want to become a good author, you have to become a good reader. Here's another little secret. My mom used to work at a restaurant. On Friday nights, she would bring home a big stack of paper from the restaurant. It would have a menu on one side and a clean sheet of paper on the other side. If you look really close at my artwork, and if you could read backwards, you will see the menu popping through from the other side. Right above the word "one" right here, this is Royal Television. That's what you're serving at the local restaurant, Royal Television. So I never ran out of drawing paper. And yes, here's another little secret. You may have seen some of my artwork in your house, and I didn't realize that I did it. How many of you have ever had Mott's apple juice from Mott's applesauce? Next time you have it, look at the apples. Try to see those apples from Mott's apple juice. That might be in your refrigerator when you get home today. How many of you have ever had lifesaver popsicles? That's my artwork on there too, the popsicles and the fruit next to them. There's a book called Dory Stor. Dory Stor starts off on the beach one night. I did the pictures for this book. I didn't write the story. Jerry Potter wrote it. It starts off on the beach one night. Hey, how many of you go to the beach in the summertime? Hey, guess what? If it's really dark out, you know what you want to do? Have your mom and dad take you down to the beach. Danny's at the beach. Really, really dark out. The full moon's coming up. But before the full moon comes up, Danny looks at the water. And he sees all these waves coming in. And they're glowing. And he says, what's going on? So he picks up the water in his hands, he looks at the water, and then he remembers about plankton. Plankton, small plants and animals that glow in the water when it's really, really dark out. So then he sees all this plankton. The next day he wakes up, he goes down to the beach. It's a beautiful day, the sun is shining. He says, you know what? I'm going to take my dory boat out towards the bottom in the middle of the bay. So he puts the oars into his dory, he puts his life jacket on, he puts his Boston Red Sox cap on, he's ready to push the boat out, and then he remembers something that his mom and dad told him. His mom and dad told him, never take the boat out in the water by yourself. You're just a kid. But then he says, what could go wrong? I'm just going to row out towards the rock. As he rows out, he sees all these seagulls hovering around the water. You know what that means? It means that there's a lot of fish or there's a lot of food in the water. So he rows out a little bit further, and then he stops the boat. He takes a look over the side of the boat. He cannot see the plankton. Plankton is invisible during the day. He can only see it at night. He sees these little shrimp floating around the water. He says, well, maybe they're eating plankton. So he rows out a little bit further, and as he rows out, he sees all these sand eels in the water. The sand eels are going after the little shrimp in the water. There's tons and tons of these sand eels. He rows out a little bit further, and there's a splash over the bottom of the boat. The sand eels are heading in the opposite direction. A school of mackerel show up, and the mackerel are going after the sand eels, and they're eating the sand eels. Right behind the school of mackerel, there's a bigger fish. But these fish have razor sharp teeth. As they get closer to the boat, he sees what it is. It's a school of bluefish. The bluefish on a feeding frenzy. They go right through the school of mackerel. Bits and pieces of mackerel are going all over the place. Danny looks over the side of the boat and says, oh my goodness. And then he stands up in the boat. When he stands up in the boat, 4 dark shadows go underneath it. It's 4 bluefin tuna. Bluefin tuna are going after the bluefish. The bluefish are jumping out of the water trying to get away from the bluefin tuna. When Danny picks his head up into the bay, he sees 5 black fins heading towards the boat. As they get closer, he sees what it is. It's a pot of killer whales. The killer whales are bluefin tuna. Danny says, maybe it wasn't such a good idea that it came out here by myself. He takes a look towards the shore, and he sees the harbor seals pulling themselves up on the rock. They sense the days in the water. They sense the killer whales in the water. All of a sudden, there's a roar of water about 100 feet in front of the dory. Something big, something dark is coming up out of the water. A humpback whale reaches right in front of the dory. Danny says, oh my goodness. He knows that humpback whales don't go after the killer whales. They go after the smaller creatures like the krill, the algae, the copepods. But he doesn't have too much time to worry about that. The humpback whale falls back into the water and makes a huge splash. It scares one of the bluefin tuna. When the bluefin tuna hits the boat, not standing on the boat in the water, you know what's going on? A word from one of our sponsors. How many of you guys say Did you ever for that box?
You did.
Look at this. Just like the dragon book. The Dory Stor, I did all these little sketches. And then I went down to the beach. I got myself a dory. I pulled the dory out of the water. I filled waves around it with sand. I did over 50 sketches of the author's nephew in the boat. Then I came back and I started to paint. That's day number 1. This is day number, and finally day number. It took me 7 days to do that. Hey, see you guys, Dory Stor? Where was Danny when we last saw him? You know what he should have done? He should have stayed with the boat. Even though the boat flipped over, it was still float in the water. But then he panics and he starts to swim from the rock in the middle of the day. As he does, he takes a look underneath him. He sees the humpback whale. He sees the killer whale. He sees the bluefin tuna. They're all swimming every which way. He makes it to the rock. He picks himself up on the rock. He's tired. He's cold. He's got water up his nose. He stands up on the rock, and then he hears his mom, the voice, say, Danny, you tell the best stories when you're in the bathtub. This is the story he was telling his mom when he was in the bathtub. But if you look really closely at it, you will see all the creatures that he saw on the way out. Look at up in this bubble, there's the humpback whale, the killer whale, the bluefin tuna. They're all swimming every which way. And what's that up there? Anybody know what that is? Does anybody know what that is? The mom's what?
Shadow.
A second grader said to me, Mr. Biedrzycki, I saw Star Wars last night. The mom's shadow looks like Darth Vader. You know the guy in Darth Vader? How many of you see Star Wars? You know the guy who goes, Darth Vader, okay. I think you guys did. Hey, you know what you guys were? You guys were what?